Welcome back to Wario Land II. So now let's check out the factory storyline.
It's interesting how you managed to squeeze 14 parts out of a Game Boy game.
I know, right? That's what I love about this game. The developers went above and beyond in filling this goddamn cartridge with so much content. And considering how huge the levels are, it's incredibly impressive.
So where are we now?
Well, remember, this was the factory that was somewhere, one of the very town stages, the city stages, and there you go. We found.
I meant story-wise, like well, how does this veer off?
Well, you're about to see.
Anyway, welcome to my private factory. Here, this is where I make all my food, including, but not just my food. This is where all my outfits are made.
In a context, audience, it's been a while since we've been to this factory, so it's a bit easy to forget some details.
And, wow, that was quick.
Don't worry, that's what the following cutscene is for.
Oh, my pipe!
I already got this, so
don't you mean your saxophone, according to Little Mermaid?
No, it's a pipe. Fuck what Disney says.
Alright.
This
so, what happened this time?
What the hell?
Okay. Oh, I get it. This is the last level of a Terminator Sega Genesis game.
Alright, follow me. He'll never catch us through this trap.
What if we just
as long as the third one doesn't mess up.
See, Joe, as you're saying, it's free bucks of money. Each one for the free spearman. Yeah. So yeah, instead of just going through the instead of just going through the factory, this time Syrup and her spearmen managed to infiltrate themselves completely inside the factory somewhere. So you have to, explore the entire factory in general to get them.
Oh,
and yes, once again, another giant spearman. Yeah.
Okay, Bill, it's your time to shine again.
Alright.
I defeated Wario. Do I get a promotion?
Wait a minute. I thought we were supposed to be inside a factory. Why are we inside a random building now?
Well, yeah, we're back in the apartment now.
Is this self-code now? Pokemon Gen 1?
It's interesting because, like I said, the game does a very good job in making sure the levels make sense within the current storyline we're at. But sometimes
not always in the transitions.
Yeah, but sometimes they have these random things where we literally just entered a factory, but now suddenly we're in a building. Like, it's weird. Like, somebody screwed up here, but whatever. The basic point is we have to explore the building. It has plenty of floors. Gee, that coin doesn't look suspicious at all. There you go. Why are you fishing? Why are you fishing in a building?
I don't know. Jesus.
But yeah, it's a video game. Yeah, basically just explore the various floors so you can find stuff. That's the basic gist of it.
Including the treasure.
Yeah. There we go. And there we go.
Oh.
Ah, you are now my plaything.
There you go.
Yeah, I just have to find a new plaything now.
You're just You are just a child's plaything.
And before any fanfiction people ask, no, I don't mean Captain Zero. Why the fuck would I want to associate myself with that thieving bitch?
That Toy Story.
I don't know. For some reason you fathered a child with her.
That Woody quote.
I did not.
That Woody quote can be so horribly taken out of context, by the way.
What can't?
Yeah. You can take a lot of Toy Story without context, and it will be a bit more creepier or funnier.
Well,
do you even want to know the different double entendres for there being a snake in one's boot?
Well, one of the things that I did like about the first Toy Story is since it came out during the mid-90s, back when risque humor in kids' media was all the rage. Like, it had a surprising good amount of risque jokes. Like, one of my favorites is a visual gag where Woody is, giving a typical speech at the beginning, and then Potato Head takes his mouth out and puts it to his ass, as in ass kisser. I kind of wish Pixar would do more of that stuff, but it's not PC. It's not considered PC anymore. So
I
Maybe
mean,
the next two
granted,
movies.
as long as you don't fall into the other extreme of just trying to seem adult but doing it with no sense or
Well,
context.
that was before Toy Story, Jova. Remember, the reason we had that Black Friday version of Toy Story 1 was because of Jessica Canterbury always asking for more edge, you know. Have you seen that black and white story reel where Woody's the complete asshole? It's an extra in the Blu-ray. It's on YouTube as well. You can see it on YouTube.
I think they even got Tom Hanks to voice that, just like a little bit.
Yeah, they got the voice actors to revoice those for the sake of the audience who sees
Well,
the.
Tom Hanks at least.
Oh yeah. No. Basically, too. Jeffrey Katzenberg was always asking for more edge, more.
What is that?
What?
What's that brown coin do?
I'll show you.
Oh.
There you go.
Hey, you know what? They got this in a spike of my coins.
Maybe.
How the fuck do you do that?
The basic.
I'm a pirate. I'm all about tinkering with currency to suit my own needs.
I thought you stole the currency.
Doesn't mean I can't tinker with it to make more.
But then it's fake and it's worthless, just like you.
Yeah, but you're the one using it, so who's laughing?
The basic.
At least tell it looks fake and all.
The basic gist was the fact that because of Jeffrey Katzenberg always asking Pixar for more edge, more adult appeal and shit, that's what got us the Black Friday story reel. So yeah, no, don't worry. I'm pretty sure. Don't worry, Joe. It's a version of Toy Story, Joe, where they made Woody such an unlikable asshole. Who's always
based off of like the deleted scenes from Toy Story, I believe.
Basically, it was because of Jeffrey Katzenberg said, "Oh, you need more. This needs to be more edgy, you know, more in your face and shit." So the problem is, of course, John and his team didn't want to make the character like that, but you know they had to at the time because they, you know, and then eventually when it didn't turn out so terrible. Disney literally got to the point where they wanted to shut production down and shit, but John was the one who said, okay, just give us 2 weeks and we'll solve the problem. And then they went back to headquarters, okay, let's just make the movie we want to make. And then they just presented it as it was, and it was approved later, fortunately. So it's easy, Jova. Just go to YouTube. Just go to YouTube, Jova, and go and search Toy Story Black Friday. It should be the first one that shows up.
I think Katzenberg's mentality worked a lot better when he was at DreamWorks because it was his own, well, his and two others' own baby. So he could just do. Yeah,
it worked fine it worked fine at first, but then somewhere along the way, even he stopped asking for. Again, it's not really considered.
I was surprised how long he was there for. I thought he resigned during like the mid 2000s, but no, he was there all the way through till the Comcast buyout.
Well, remember, Drift, that's just the thing. Like I was saying, the whole edge thing that Katzenberg was known for, that's not really regarded as PC anymore in American culture. So that's why a lot of in kids movies, in kids movies, I mean.
Debatable. I mean, a lot of kids' movies nowadays don't have a lot of the PC stuff that they used to. Unless you're talking about maybe some TV shows, but nowadays they actually are willing to acknowledge that kids can handle more adult stuff. The idea is just not to go too much in the extreme.
Oh no, we
see a lot of double entendres in kids stuff these days.
Well, let me ask you something, Joe. When was the last time you saw a sexual innuendo joke in a Pixar movie?
Oh well. Okay, yeah. Please tell me you aren't just basing all of American media off of Pixar.
No. I'm just giving you an example, but I can use others if you want. Well,
let's see. It's been a while since I've seen a Pixar movie.
Well, no, fine. Like in an animated film in general.
Oh, feel last week.
Which one?
I forget what it was. It was some made-for-TV film.
Okay, not familiar with that. I'll just have to take your word for it. Anyway, number.
Okay.
3? No,
3?
8? No, 6?
Ding ding ding.
So me and Jova both lost.
Well, technically, no,
my
Java
last guess
won.
was 6.
Java guessed 6, actually. So remember, Rebs, you can always change your guess until I stop flipping panels. So.
Yep.
Maybe we should make a new rule. No, once you've made your first guess, that's it. You can't change it.
Also, I got myself a 90s computer.
Otherwise, everyone would just do that all the time. And,
Into the factory.
Oh.
This. All right. Now. Oh no. Now we're in the actual factory.
It only took you a walk through the apartment to get back in there, Wario.
Welcome to Wario Man, into the factory.
All right.
Makes you wonder what was the point of the previous level.
Because we needed 5 levels too.
I guess.
I had to go to my office and get important files so I could access the factory.
Maybe there's.
I keep forgetting my password, you see, so I have to write it down, and it's buried deep within the office.
It's well, like you said, like okay. Now that we're in the actual factory, the gimmick's basically about into conveyor belts, electrical square things. I don't know what those are quite. And aside from that, there's not that much in terms of original gimmicks. It's mostly, and we also have these moving platforms. There you go. But most of it is just conveyor belts. Think of it like the scrap brain zone of this game, kind of. There we go.
Beep, beep.
Fortunately, we're much stronger than the conveyor belts.
Yeah, I can see that.
Oh, hi, censored enemy.
Nintendo ordered me to censor stuff.
It's ironic seeing how nowadays Sony are the ones censoring and Nintendo have gone on record to say that they will not be censoring.
Well, I mean, from what I've every time whenever I read an article to find out what exactly was censored, for the most part, a lot of what was being censored was rather icky.
It depends, though. I mean, okay, yeah, sure. What some may consider okay. If it's stuff like obviously, like say, sexual stuff on like a preteen or something, I can get them maybe removing that because that stuff's just icky.
I mean,
however,
Sony outright banned the game from coming up.
That's one thing, Dweebs, but it's censoring for a Japanese exclusive game that doesn't get a Western release. Stuff like that, by all intents and purposes, for the standards and culture of Japan is perfectly fine. That is instead basically Sony trying to impose a standard to a country that, by all accounts, doesn't need it. Yes, from our perspective, it is that bad. But for them, maybe it's not even entirely. Now, this bunch of people that are not even related to them are just crashing in and having a list of demands.
Yeah.
It feels as if there should be at least more dialogue at the very least.
And then there's times when they censor stuff just because it's sexual. Then it just becomes about them telling you what you should be offended by, and it's like, no, let's not.
I refer you to what the creator of Cyberpunk 2077 said.
Yeah.
Okay. We're not doing bullshit DLC.
No, we said stop telling me what I'm supposed to be offended by.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, let's see where the treasure is.
Hard, of course.
Also, this level also has this the same gimmick that has the music where at some point stops the note for like 5 seconds straight.
Yep.
Top one to the left.
Very
nice.
good. So I a snowflake?
Wait.
It's like a medallion.
It looks like the medallion from Pirates of the Caribbean.
It's weird.
Which one?
The first.
Curse of the Black Pearl.
Oh yeah, the one where does that stop you from turning into a skeleton when you go outside?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Actually, no, it does that.
No, the opposite.
Once you collect it, it does that. So in order to remove the curse, you need to put all the pieces back together and spill the blood tied to the first person who took it.
Yep.
Unless you happen to be a descendant of somebody who already touched it, or Elizabeth Swann. Yeah,
Loopholes, only in a Disney movie.
I was always a bit weirded out with how that curse kind of worked, but yeah, like you said, loopholes.
Not to mention
it's because of blood. It's because a curse passes on through the blood, Jova. That was what they said.
Jova, ancient pre-Columbian civilization type of curse. They were very kinky with their blood sacrifices.
But yeah, I only have one question. Where the hell were Sony censors when Compile decided to have Ollie molest Lola?
I think that was before.
Yeah. Before we moved the QGD HQ to California.
Shame.
I think that's also a bit of an issue. It's like, well, yeah, they talk about how they're censoring stuff, but let's be honest, the only reason they're censoring is because of where they've moved to. It's not out of some righteousness or anything.
It's because they have no. It's because they have no choice. But
well, that's the thing. They also renewed their stuff, but it's now composed most by the kind of people that you will see on Twitter, bitching. Anyway,
I'm not gonna comment.
Yeah.
Let's not touch that with a 10.5-foot pole, okay?
Yeah, especially because this is actually not Sony, but actually Nintendo. There you go. So,
again, Nintendo, the guys who aren't censoring. So yeah.
Well, mine just.
So does it?
Just because you don't censor.
So does this mean that 20 years from now it's going to reverse again and Nintendo will go back to censoring and Sony won't?
No. It will be Microsoft instead, the one who will not start censoring things.
Actually, I always wonder what Microsoft's whole pledge in this whole
no, Taylor has a good point, Jova. Microsoft doing something like that does go along with Phil Spencer's vision for the company, because Phil Spencer is all about being as PC as possible, being as
it was a gear. That was it was okay.
Like, for example, to give you guys an idea, I actually wasn't aware of this because, I've never really been an Xbox fan to begin with, but in my investigations regarding the Xbox fandom in general, I actually found that apparently back in the 360 there was this thing called Xbox Underground thing, and where apparently, it was one of those typical, bro dude type of shows. Where they had a lot of edgy stuff as well. However, a lot of fans lament the death of that because like a lot of fans apparently there were a lot of risque jokes and sexual innuendo and stuff like that they used to do, and a lot of the older Xbox fans mourn the death of that show because nowadays it wouldn't be able to do it because it would be regarded as too controversial for Microsoft to do it again. So I can definitely see. So Microsoft's Phil's vision from Microsoft is also very similar to that actually. So it's actually more Nintendo the one who's more open-minded nowadays.
remember also back in the original Xbox days when they did the Live and Reloaded version of Conquer, they censored pretty much every single swear word and
that too.
They ruined the Mighty Pooh song because of that.
Yeah.
I mean, sure. Okay.
Thank you, Lucky Stars. Those they used in Rare Replay was.
Yeah, the Nintendo 64 version. Yeah.
Did they clean up the graphics for it, I hope?
They did.
No, it's similar to the Banjo.
It's an emulation. One. It's kind of similar.
It's upscaled emulation of the 64, that's what it is.
It's upscaled emulation with VSync, so it looks a lot nicer on an HD TV, so don't worry, it looks just fine. It looks fine on mine, at least. The only thing that was really perished was the N60, the cutscene with Conquer sawing the N64 logo in half, because you had to remove that. You had to remove that because shame they couldn't. I mean, with the Banjo-Kazooie remaster, it was fine. But all they had to do was replace the Nintendo logo on the xylophone with a Microsoft logo, and there you go, problem solved. But with the N64 logo being sawed in half, you can't really change that to a Microsoft logo of sorts. So they had to remove that scene altogether in general.
So you have to wonder, actually, if Nintendo are willing to take this whole partnership with Microsoft to the next level, who do you think Nintendo and Microsoft may hire to make a new Banjo and Kazooie, new Conquer game in general?
I would love.
Basically, who do you think would be the new studio to take up the Rare reins?
My ideal developer would be Platonic Games, but I know that a lot of people don't like them, so I guess Koizumi and his team.
Yeah, admittedly, Platonic have a bit of controversy after the whole ukulele campaign, and apparently some of the...
Some people consider the game just plain crap.
Oh, well, no, well, not just that. I'm talking more so about the campaign. Apparently, some of the developers didn't exactly handle that well. There was all this controversy with that. Ukulele is not quite as bad a case as Mario number 9, but it's definitely a case people will be talking about. From what I played of the game, it's fine. The main problem was that it's also old-fashioned in the sense where...
To a fault, yeah.
Okay.
It's still old-fashioned to a fault.
Yeah. I mean, okay. If you want Banjo and Kazooie, that's exactly what you're getting, but you're getting it with all the problems and nothing really fixed.
Updated,
and stuff like that quiz with the Dr. Duck is blah.
Yeah, that was just bad. No, I like the game, but even I would...
It's kind of a shame, because I see a lot of potential with that game, and hey, maybe that sort of sequel should show stuff.
Well, my problem with the sequel is that it's a 2D game with some 3D over-the-top areas, so it's not really a proper follow-up to the original. So, like, the big appeal, at least to the original, at least for me, was the fact that we were getting a return of the old, rare 3D platformer. If you take that away, it's just... I mean... The market right now is saturated with side-scrollers. We don't really need another one. I mean, if you take that away...
Yeah. Funnily enough, wasn't that one of the criticisms? It was a rare platformer, but apparently...
Well, yeah. But again, this goes back to my argument that developers nowadays seem to have forgotten the art of nuance. The solution is not to scrap everything. The solution is to fix the problems.
It's like Nintendo during the early half of the 2010s. When something didn't go well, instead of improving it, they just tried to sweep it on.
Yep.
Although, to be fair, I think that only happened with Star Fox, but you do have a point. They were still guilty of it.
Nintendo Land.
Wait, Nintendo Land?
Like,
remember, Jova, it's one of the few games that do not have a Switch port, nor any representation whatsoever in Smash Ultimate.
Okay, to be fair to you, Nintendo Land is kind of geared specifically for the Wii U, in a sense. Like,
true, but it's a sort of a celebration of the history of Nintendo as a whole, similar to what Smash is.
Oh, sure. I get that, but the problem is, again, the way it's geared is geared towards the Wii U system, in the sense that a lot of that stuff is stuff that can't be done necessarily on the Switch, because the Switch does not necessarily work the same way. Like, for example, you try and do Nintendo Land on the Switch, let's see, there's like several mini games you can't do because you don't have the Wii U gameplay. Like,
see, the thing about the Wii U, Teo, is that you can do a lot of times. There's things where the gamepad directly interacts with the TV, so you need both screens. The Switch doesn't work like that.
Yeah. So okay, to be fair, I chalked Nintendo Land up to being it was specifically for the system. As for other games, yeah, Star Fox, they definitely did dirty.
Metroid.
Metroid is a weird case. Like, from what we've heard from their interview, it seems that part of the issue with Metroid was also them trying to figure out what to do with it, as opposed to sweeping it under the rug. Like, let's not forget, Other M really did a number. And, okay, here's the thing with Other M. That had the original creator of Metroid.
Hourglass.
When the original creator of Metroid fails, but doesn't have a successor, unlike, say, Mario or Zelda, then you have a bit of an issue figuring out who to do next for your thing. It's sort of like how Capcom were with Mega Man, trying to find the right team until finally they got one for Mega Man 11.
Mm-hmm.
And stage completed.
It's about, but yeah, like I was saying to us, it's about understanding the feedback and using it with nuance. Because the problem with a lot of developers nowadays is the fact that it's not even just Nintendo, like you said. But yes, they had that problem back in the 2010s, like you said. But a lot of times, a lot of developers still have that same problem. And here, I'll use that Nintendo example that you mentioned, like the whole go from cell shading Wind Waker to the darker art style of Twilight Princess. Whereas with something with Skyward, the art style used in Skyward Sword and Breath of the Wild, to me, is the best art style for a Zelda game, because it's this perfect balance between the animated look, but while at the same time not being overly cartoony with its proportions, Like again, find a balance. Think with nuanced developers. Like you don't have to think in extremes.
As for ukulele, I kind of have a theory. Like, I have a theory that Playtonic, while definitely made of more of the Rare devs who did leave over, I think part of the issue with Playtonic is that they're not the full Rare team. You know, it's sort of the same problem that what Rare is on Microsoft has. It's like, well, I feel like until Rare can be joined together as a team fully together, they may never be able to bring us the quality that they used to.
Well,
and
even then, some people have left permanently anyway, so...
Well,
Yeah.
Time Splitters worked well, and that was headed by a couple of Rare guys.
Anyway, see you for the next part, everybody.
I guess we finished the factory then.
Yes, see ya.